It's 14 after 8. And of course, yesterday, the sad news of the passing away of the legend, one of the nicest to ever do it, Mark Pilgrim, the legendary radio and television presenter, after a long battle with stage 4 cancer, has passed away. And the tributes continue to pour in from all corners of the entertainment and broadcasting world. And we now are joined by one of my heroes, somebody, gosh, I remember being a teenager listening to this man, and he remains one of those definitive voices of South African broadcasting. Alex J, a pleasure to have you on the show under, of course, sad...
Good morning, Bongani. How you doing?
A very good morning to you, Alex. That voice is unmistakable. It's sad, the circumstances that bring us together this morning, but Mark Pilgrim, what a legend, hey?
What a legend. I've got to tell you something. I mean, you know, the legacy the guy's left, you are talking about it right now. You're saying that you're battling to get a WhatsApp voice call on the air. You're technical, what. He was the first guy, the first South African broadcaster to embrace the possibilities of what the socials could do in terms of content provision for radio. And I'm not making this up. He was laughed at when he rolled this out at not even 5FM, I think it was Radio 5, before the big change. Right. And all of the older jocks were like, this is just more PT, it's more admin, it's more interaction. What he saw it was an extension of an engagement with an audience, which he brought them in. Everybody's doing it on radio now. Mark was the guy that drove that process, I'm telling you. So isn't that bizarre? Also, how's this for crazy? Last night, like the rest of us, with all the load shedding, power on, power off, power on, power off, we've got one of those dodgy substations and it flickers and everything. Our entire internet system went down. So I had to phone this morning. Guess who the voice on hold is? So I'm sitting there waiting for you guys to phone while Mark Pilgrim is telling me, press 1 for tech support, press 3 for this, you know. So it's just a bizarre thing. Yeah, I'm very sad that he lost the fight. I really am, because he's been very public about this fight. I know Ferial Hapachi wrote a really nice article about how he made it okay to talk about men's health. Now, we're at a stage where we want to talk about men's mental health as well. But Mark was always upfront about his cancer diagnosis and the fact that he'd beaten cancer and the fact that he was in remission. I mean, when he joined us, he's about 10 years, well, he is.
Right.
Yeah, I'm about 10 years older than him. There you go. That's the thing. And, you know, so his ideas were a little bit fresh and everything. But, you know, he was quite right in terms of just being open about this and saying, I've beaten this. It can be beaten. Look, I'm going to live my best life. He was the patron of the Cancer Association of South Africa many times. He drove that cancer shave-a-thon for years and years. He actually brought it into the mainstream. And I know a lot of people thought that because of the pictures that he posted of his stage 4 battle, that it was ghoulish. There was nothing ghoulish about that. That was spectacularly brave. That was like lifting the lid on something that everybody else will, like, you know, go away and just like, no, you are still visible, you are still relevant, and you are still fighting, and people should recognize that fight. So, like I say, I'm really, really sad he lost the battle. It came as a big shock yesterday, and that was not a happy Sunday. I mean, he's going to be sorely missed.
Indeed, has been an influence on so many of us in the business, and I think it must be touching for someone like you, who, of course, he would have looked up to. I mean, we all listened to Alex J from the Radio 5 days and even beyond for some. And just, I suppose, being able to pass on that baton to people like Mark Pilgrim and the influence he's had on broadcasting, and so many people who, particularly in the music space, can speak with a bit of an affectation. He didn't do that. Who you heard on the speaker was exactly who you would interact with privately, wasn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, he was one of those genuine, real deal, nice guys. You will not find a bad word being said about him anywhere. And it is... yeah, he was honest about that, which is a lovely thing. You know, a lot of the broadcasters will come along and like fake it up and, wow, look at me and look who I am and everything. But he kept it real in terms of who he was as a survivor. It was part of his identity. And yeah, he was a sweet guy. He embraced all the new tech. He was a genius on the chart show. I don't think anybody's done a better chart show in this country, to be honest. I mean, he brought it through 5FM. He brought it onto 947 and KFM. Looking at top 40, it was hugely popular, absolutely massive. And again, using those the social network connections to bring content onto the air, it just made it pop, you know. And again, it's one of the reasons, because of his incredible communication skills via the socials as well as radio, it's another reason why his loss is being so keenly felt, is because people felt a genuine, real connection with the guy, with a real human.
Yeah.
And not an automaton, and not an AI voice. Relax, Mr. Bingwa, our jobs are safe. For another week.
No chat GPT. All right, Alex J., one of the best ever to do it. Appreciate your time, reflecting, of course, on the career, the life, and the impact of the legendary radio presenter, Mark Pilgrim.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.